Hello students, in this video we're going to do some formatting and I'm going to show you some of the tools that we have in Excel. So first of all, let's take a little look at this chart right here, or worksheet that I have. And you can see that the very first thing we need to do, which you did in your last exercise, is to make the columns a little bit bigger. And so I'm going to actually make them a little bit bigger here. And then we can also make the rows a little bigger. And let's come down here and I'm just going to show you how to delete. You don't delete this way. This will delete the contents of the cell. If I delete here, I want to do that. If I really want to delete the rows, I have to come out here on the side. So be careful if you're selecting from up here in the ABC part and then in your numbers, or if you're selecting over here. So we'll select the row and I'm going to delete it. And I'm also going to, let's move my name down to the very bottom. So I'm going to select this, not select the data, but select the row. And then I'm going to cut it, scroll down, and click to row and insert cut cells. Okay, if I just would paste it, I might paste over the top of it. So I want to put the whole entire row in there. So you click insert cut rows. And okay, that fixed that. And right now we have some shading here and we don't have any shading there. So I can click here. This is shaded. And I can come up here to this paint bucket and I can say no fill, and that took it off. Okay, so let's look again how we shade. We select. Now I don't, if I select this part here, I'm just selecting the cells now and I want to make those shades. If I select this whole row, then I get this part over here shaded, and I don't want to do that. So there's a difference between selecting columns, entire columns and entire rows, and selecting the data right in the that you want to work with. So I'm going to come over here to the paint bucket again. That's where our format for fill is, and I can make it gray, blue, light blue. I'm going to make it light blue. Okay, and that just puts a heading on there. If I wanted to shade anything, you just select it, go up to the paint, but if the paint bucket's blue, if I hit blue, it'll turn blue, or I can use the drop down box and change it to another color. Okay, now I don't want it shaded, so I've got it selected and I'll say no fill, and that took it off. Okay, so let's look at borders. Borders are on this particular icon. Says bottom border, top border, left, right, no border, all your borders, just the outside borders, thick outside borders, double bottom, and so on and so on. You can also erase a border and add different things in here. Basically, the one I use all the time is all borders, so I'm just going to click that. And again, the only thing that got a border on it was the one cell that I had selected. I have to select all of these cells, and then I'll come over here and I'll click all borders, and now I have borders. These gray lines are called grid lines, and this actually has a border. The grid lines will print out, although they will be very, very light. These borders will actually print. Now let's try a border. I'm going to select row 2. I didn't select row 1. I'm just selecting the cells in row 2, and then I'm going to come over here and I will pick top, and I want to make it a thick border. So okay, my choice is really thick bottom border. So instead of doing the top border here, I'm going to select this up here, the top one, and now back to this thick bottom border. And I'm not sure if you can really see that because it's not that thick. I can come here and click on this launch button, and now I can actually pick the color and border, and I can pick that it's going to be thick and say OK. If I zoom my screen up, you'll be able to see this. Well, it's actually very hard to see, but it's there. Okay, so the bottom line is that I'm going to undo all of the borders. And just show you again, select all of your cells and then do all borders. And that usually gets you what you need there. Okay, so we did borders and we did shading. They're using these icons here. Select then do. And then now I want to show you some alignment type things. So right now this is left aligned. This is on the left cell margin. Left, left, left. So if I select all these, so select, and then I center it, they're now in the center. Left, center, right, center, and we can also center within the cell. Top, right in the middle, and to the bottom. Left bottom, center, right, center, top. So all of these have to do with alignment. This is alignment up and down, and this is alignment left and right, horizontal and vertical alignment. Okay, and no matter how if I change the height of the row, it's going to be centered perfectly. Okay, now on this column, if your column has the same number of characters in it all the time, then it's good to go ahead and center it. But like over on these names, if you center these names, I'm just going to do a few of them. If you center them, that makes it more difficult to read. So you want to actually leave those to the left. And then if your columns have the same amount of characters in it, then it works good. Okay, so we've talked about our font and borders and fill, and let's say that we want to change the color of the lettering. I can come here, and if that's blue, then I can make that white. I can change the size of it, and I've got an attractive looking worksheet. So that's all up to you how you want to do that. Now, let's look at these numbers and talk a little bit about alignment. Up here in our numbers, we have different things that we can do. If we put dollar signs on here, I now have dollar signs. These are called accounting dollar signs, and they come to the far left. See, I have up here it says accounting. I can also say currency, and then the dollar signs come right next to the numbers. So that is just something that would normally this one here you can um, change your accounting formats right here. So change it to currency or to accounting. Here we can change to currency, and this is accounting too. Now, the one thing that you should know is that dollar amounts are always, always, always aligned to the right. You very rarely will put them in the center or over to the left. They're always aligned right. Now, sometimes we can show on a number. I'm going to come over here where we don't have any dollar signs. And I have two digits after the decimal. And these little circles here decrease and increase decimal. So decrease, increase. So if I had a number, for example, 45.1432, so we have our decimal right here, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's in the thousands, 45 in like 13 hundreds, 13 thousandths, and so on. And I want to change how many decimal points I'm showing. I come up here and I can use my decrease decimal. See what my number is up here, 45.131. But if I look over here, I'm only seeing the 45 because I've decreased how many decimals, how many digits after the decimal that I want to show. So those are some things that you can play with. Okay, and I'm sure that you all know that if you want something bold, you just click bold or italics or underline. Those are very simple features to use. This is your fonts. We'll be talking more about fonts and things like that when we get to Word, but for right now, just real quickie on that. Okay, so those are some of the formats. So let me review. We have borders, so select and then put on a border. You can select and then add a fill color. You can select and change the font color. You can change alignment, left, center, right, top, middle, bottom. You can also slant these, so let me just show you this. We're going to do an upward angle. Oh, I changed over here, but let's change on these here. And we'll do an angle, and we can change it so you won't be able to read all of it. Okay. So that's some of the good things in this formatting that you can do. Let's look over here, and here we have another little chart, or little table, excuse me, worksheet. And if you look at this, none of this, it just doesn't look right because we have our heading here and our numbers are way over here, big heading here and numbers over here. So let me, first of all, let's go ahead and make the rows a little bit wider, increase the row height. Okay, and I'm going to increase row 1 a little bit, and then these headings are quite big, so if I make my rows a little, my columns, excuse me. Now, this one wrap text, if I come over here, that one will wrap text. This one we need to have a little bit bigger. So you can wrap text and that will cause it to be in 2 lines. Or there's a trick I'm going to teach you that is not really documented anywhere, but if I want to take a line and I want it to break the line within a cell, and I am using wrap text, or I want to just break it, I come here and I'm going to take that space out. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and hit my Enter key, and that breaks it into 2. Now you can't see that second part up in the formula bar, but if I keep scrolling through it, you can see it. Okay, so that was kind of the first thing I wanted to do, is I wanted to make these a little bit more centered. Now these have the same digits in them, so I'm going to center those, and I'm going to center these, and that looks okay like that because most of the numbers are fitting up. Another thing I could do to get those to the center would be to move them to the left, and then I can increase increase my indent. And where is my indent? Uh, I just know it by, right here, the increase indent. So that kind of lines up the numbers like that. So you can move it. Okay, just so you can see, but we're going to center that. Okay, and then let's try again some of the things. We're going to take this here and we can fill the color, and we can add a border to this. And now that looks pretty good. That looks a lot different from when we started out. Those are the basic ones that we use, are the borders, all borders, and then filling a heading and making your headings over the top of your thing. So take a look at that, and I'm going to undo everything I did back to where it was. That's where we started from. So you can see how much formatting affects the look of your worksheet. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is a feature called Fill, and it's really great. So sometimes if you have a pattern, like right here we have January, February, March, April, May. Let's say I want to run this all the way out to December. I can just get right in here and see the black cross. That's called a fill handle, and I can pull it out, and it realized the pattern: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and it went like just filled all the way out. And if I go one more fill, it'll go to December, if I can grab it. There we go, I got it to grab. Okay, so let's see if we go down. I can do January, February, March, and now I can grab those and I can fill down. I could also make a pattern of like 1, 2, 3. Those are all set up as dollar amounts, so let's come here like 1, 2, and see how it picked up the pattern of 3? It goes $2 and one regular, $2 and one regular. Okay, so let me just take off the accounting and put general text on there. Okay, and then if I want to continue filling, I just pick up the pattern, get my fill handle, and come down. Now the practical place where you use this is when we're using a formula, so you don't have to type the formula over and over. So right here I have a formula. We don't know how to do these yet, but we are going to learn how to do them. But you'll take equals the sales minus our expenses, and I get our profits. Now I want to figure our profits for February, so then I just come in here, get my fill handle, and pull that formula over, and it fills in for me. So you can do it with numbers, you can do it with months, whenever you want to repeat something, it will repeat for you, and that's called the fill handle. Okay, and the next thing I want to do is I'm undoing all this extra stuff here. Sorry about that, everybody. Oops, we have total in here. Well, actually, let me put the profits in here so we can see fill crossed. Okay, and I can also make a total here. I can use a formula to set a total here. But right now I'm not showing you how to do formulas, but we'll add up all of this and get a total there. Okay, so now we have the total sales, the total expensive, and our total profits. If we added all of these up separately, we would get the same number here. But I want to show you how we can make a chart. So you have these numbers, and if you can visualize what they represent, that's very, very good. So let's just look at a very simple chart here. And I'm going to pick up, I don't want to select my heading here. I'm going to select from here, and I don't really want to select my totals, and I don't want to select my profits, because that's not what I'm comparing. I just want to compare sales and expenses. So don't select totals and don't come down here and get profits. Just select this amount. Now, watch what happens with the sales and expenses in the January, February. We're going to say Insert, Chart. I'll take the basic chart and say OK. And now we have a chart here with placeholders in here. I can change the title in here. Pick it up first. Sales. That's my chart title. Then I can pull this and move it down. I can also have the chart show up in a new chart, but I just want to show you how the basics work. Okay, so here's sales are blue and expenses are brown. So these two things got picked up from this text right here. And now January and February and March, those titles came from up here. Okay, now I'm going to show you what happens. Let's take this here and put it off to the side. And I'm going to show you what happens when you pick up too many numbers. So see how it picked up the totals now? And we're not really comparing the totals, and also it threw it off so you can't really see what's with March. So all the numbers got thrown off and it's skewed is what the word is. They're skewed and they're not comparing like they're supposed to. So we shouldn't have these totals in here. We just want to have expenses and profits. Okay, so that's the basics of a chart, but let's take a look. I'm going to delete these. You have to click right on them. Let's take a look, and we're going to do sales and expenses again. Let's look at this in what's called a pie chart. Insert, recommended charts. These are just showing bar charts. I can pick all charts. I can pick pie. And now it didn't quite work because it's just picking up one item here, just our sales and not our sales and profits. Okay, so let's pick this here, and now let's do expenses, and we'll say insert pie, and it divides it up for us. So this really doesn't lend itself to a pie chart, it lends itself to a bar chart. And so there's a lot that goes into the types of charts that you want. And in this class, we don't go into that. If you were taking an Excel class, a full-on Excel class, you would talk more about why you would use it. Basically, I just wanted to show you to be careful about what you pick up for your chart and then how you might do a bar chart or a pie chart. So here's another example. This time we have first quarter, second quarter, we have books. We have no totals on this, so I can select the whole thing. Whoop. And I can say insert, recommended charts, and it tells me I should do a bar chart. So I'm going to click this, and I'll say OK. Now I'm comparing first quarter. We have books are blue, media is the orange, calendars, and then stationery, which is paper. Okay, so let's just look at this. What month did we have high stationery sales? We had the highest stationery sales in the fourth quarter. What quarter did we have the least stationery sales? Over here in first quarter. Okay. What quarter did we have almost the same stationery and media sales? This month, the third quarter. What quarter did we have our lowest sales? First quarter. What quarter did we have our highest sales? It looks like third quarter. It would be hard to tell exactly. Okay, so that's how you do a chart, and then you have placeholders in here that you can just change that, and then there's a lot of other things that you can change in it, but that's the basic way you do a chart, just so that you know that it's there. And then if you need more help with the charts, please go into GCF Learn Free, and it's got a lot of information in there. Or there's a lot of YouTubes on there that'll get into it a lot more if you really want to start working with them. All I want you to do for this class is to know how to select, insert, and use a recommended chart. This here, I'm going to show you a different chart. It's a line chart. And you can see the sales as they compare to each other. So, okay, I'm going to stop this video because it's very long, and thank you. You can go out and do the exercises now that I have prepared for you, or you can go and just open up Excel and practice a few things on your own. But in my online exercises, I'll have you be making a chart and doing some of these things. Thank you.